Hey, brothers and sisters, I'm back again with another episode from Jesus Action Ministries. I'm Ezekiel Thomas, the founder of Jesus Action Ministries, and I'm glad that you're able to tune in and continue in our series of discussion on the grievance-driven life versus the purpose-driven life that is revealed to us in Scripture. What I was talking about as a summary in our previous discussions was that the grievance-driven mindset is a spiritual prison that limits the vision of what's possible. And it also is a prison that limits how we view people and how we view relationships. I want to talk today what is at the bottom of that mindset. What is it rooted in? What is the seed that it germinates from? And how does it grow into a spiritual weed that suffocates the vegetation of productive faith and productive relationships with other people? So one of the things that I pointed out in the first two segments of this conversation about grievance-driven thinking, especially among poor people, is that people who have more problems than answers tend to have more grievances than solutions. A lot of people believe that a grievance makes them visible. Solutions make problems invisible, but a powerless person without knowledge, without proper guidance from God, without proper faith, believes that the grievance, being able to complain, being able to point out how they are in fact a victim, that gives them, they believe, the power to become more visible to the world. It gives them the power to be seen, and therefore the power to be pitied. And at the bottom of this dysfunctional way of thinking about God, and this dysfunctional way of thinking about people and human relationships, at the bottom of that is the inability to process pain. People who are unable to process pain condemn the world, and they condemn adversity, and they condemn struggle. They are people who believe that pain is punishment, when actually pain is purpose disguised as discomfort. God uses pain in a very, very powerful way. Pain is not emotional waste. Pain is not something that we go through that has absolutely no meaning. Suffering has purpose, because pain is a teacher that is not afraid to hurt your feelings if it means saving your life, if it means saving your soul. And this is how God uses pain. He uses pain in an instructional way. But people who do not have the context of Scripture as a filter to understand the purpose of pain are those who think that pain is punishment, and that punishment being unfair and being unjust somehow makes them a victim, and therefore make them entitled to privileges and things that other people are not entitled to, because they have been singled out by God's cosmic law to suffer in a way that exceeds or excels the suffering of others. So you can't have a grievance with God if you first don't have a misunderstanding of pain. When you understand that pain is instructional, and you understand that pain is purposeful, and you understand that there is meaning and there is substance in suffering, it is impossible to have a grievance with God whereby you condemn or indict God as a result of the suffering that you have experienced. Christ taught us how to harness suffering, how to make suffering serve the greater good, how to make pain obedient to the law of goodness, how to make pain obedient to serving others. Pain in the Christ model and in the Christ mind is a servant that will be used by God and has been used by God for the purpose of human development. Get that in your mind for a second, that pain is a servant, that pain is a teacher, that pain has purpose, that pain is not emotional waste, that pain can be harnessed and it can be exploited for the good of God. It can be mined, it can be unpacked for the good of God. It can be utilized as a platform for the empowerment of mankind. Put that in your mind for a second. Because when we think about the mind of Christ, the mind revealed to us in Scripture, in that mind, that's how pain functions. In that mind, pain has value because it has application. And when pain has application and when pain has value, there is no need to have a grievance. So the person who becomes trapped in this spiritual prison of just having grievances with everything, the person who has limited his or her ability to connect with others, or has limited what is possible, because they have trapped themselves in a very isolated understanding of what things are and why things are. We get confused in the world because we lose our perspective of what things are and why things are. But when we take the what and the why to Scripture, and we connect the reasoning of Scripture to the situations, to the circumstances of man, when we look at things through the cosmic lens, when we look at things through the filter of the gospel and the life of Christ and the life of the disciples and the life of the early church fathers in the early church, when we look at things through that filter, all things make sense, even pain. So in order to uproot grievance-driven thinking and to transform the grievance-driven mind into a purpose-driven model, there has to be a transformation of how pain is viewed and how it is evaluated. It has to be an understanding of pain that is filtered through the wisdom and the reasoning of the Bible, that connects all things to eternity, and not seen as an inconvenience to a lifestyle of indulgences, overindulgences, the pursuit of pleasure, the pursuit of self-interest, even at the expense of others. When pain is used by God, it is always connected to some eternal purpose and some eternal good that transcends the everyday and ordinary experiences of man. So I wanted to share that with you as a point that we have to learn how to see pain purposefully and understand that God will use pain sometimes to hurt our feelings if it saves our soul. That there is wisdom in how pain is used in Scripture. And that when we understand that wisdom, it is impossible for us to have grievances with God. I thank you for your time today. And I look forward to more and future discussions in this relationship. Thank you for tuning in to Jesus Action Ministries.